Are we totally wrong? Are we cold and heartless? June Squibb is indeed great, but is Eleanor the Great great? Maybe not. We'll talk about it. This is the directorial debut from Scarlett Johansson. Come subscribe and hang out. I guess this kind of counts as an Art House Tuesday on a Friday. Is it art housey?
Sony Classics released it, I guess. I don't know. It hit the festivals, and I'm sure they're angling for some awards action.
Nice knowing you, Clarice. Say goodbye to Melvin for me. We had such a wonderful time the other night.
June Squibb stars as Eleanor. She is an elderly retiree and has been living for the last 11 years with her very best friend, who was a Holocaust survivor and has shared her stories with Eleanor, and the two of them are very close. And then her friend Bessie dies, and so Eleanor leaves Florida and goes back to New York City to move in with her divorced daughter, who has a college-age son, neither of whom is dying to have Eleanor back, but they're making do. Their daughter signs up Eleanor for a Broadway singing class at the JCC, which Eleanor decides to pass on, but then she winds up being welcomed into another group, and everybody seems so nice and cheerful, and she goes, oh great, I can make some new friends. But it turns out they're all Holocaust survivors, and they assume that she's one too. So she starts telling Bessie's story, and things kind of spiral from there. This is not the worst premise for a movie. It's not unlike another film we reviewed recently that I won't mention since it's a spoiler, that has a big lie going out of control. But it's still, I wish this were better. I can't even say if Scarlett Johansson is a promising director or not, because this script is so bad. This script is so hacky and contrived and nonsensical, and people do things that people fail to do things they should have done, or say things they should have said in ways that don't feel organic, that feel super contrived. Eleanor winds up befriending a young NYU journalism student played by Erin Kellyman, whose dad happens to be a well-known New York anchor played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. And this is a really frustrating film, especially because, as always, June Squibb is crushing it. June Squibb is giving a great performance, and she is creating a character, a very inhabited, funny, multidimensional character, but who has been plopped down in the most contrived nonsense plot that just doesn't work. And there should have been so many more drafts of this screenplay before it went before the camera, because as it is, it has just gaping plot holes and characterizations that don't work or make sense. So it's a real letdown, frankly.
Yeah, this is a movie where one simple Google search would explain everything, and then there'd be no movie. This almost needs to have taken place prior to the advent of the internet.
Yes.
It needs to take place in the 90s where no one would know, who this person is, but then she'd be too young to be a Holocaust survivor. So it doesn't work out time-wise that way.
But the idea that an NYU freshman wouldn't think to Google somebody, it's like,
right.
On what planet?
Well, beyond that, her dad's a freaking anchor in Market One. I mean, Chiwetel Ejiofor is the main guy at Spectrum News 1 in New York.
Right.
You would think, okay, he's got a staff, right? He's got producers. No one did a freaking Google search for this woman to show that she's from Des Moines, Iowa. I mean,
they're very slow on the uptake here. You're like, it's
dumb.
The movie is asking you to swallow a lot of contrivance to get to what turns out to be not the deepest sort of character moments. They are trying to do something with the Erin Kellyman character and the Ejiofor character in terms of grief, because his wife, her mother, has just passed away and they're still dealing with it. But all of that just felt very writerly and not the way that people talk to each other or respond to things. I was rooting for this movie. I was excited to see it, and I love watching June Squibb, and she's blameless in all of this, but the movie around her is a real letdown.
Yeah, her timing is sharp as always. This is her lane we've established between this and Thelma and Nebraska. She's got incredible comic timing, but she's so likable but she can be so sharp and prickly too. And that makes
Yeah.
her a really interesting screen presence. And so I like that friendship with Bessie. I think what Johansson establishes early on very efficiently as far as their routine together.
Yes.
You know, they wake up, they tie their shoes, they go to the grocery store, they hassle the kid who works there just for sport. And so I think they establish really nicely what that comfortable friendship is
There's
like.
a lovely rapport between Bessie, by the way, is played by Rita Zohar. And she's great. And when she's gone from the movie, we miss her because, the best scenes, I think, are the ones with her and June Squibb. Yeah,
there's a really nice sort of repetition of that routine. And then, where they were once on the bench together, now Eleanor is alone. And it's a very poignant shot with a great deal of simplicity. And then she goes back to New York and it's all like wacky hijinks. So I got to say, though, there is going to be a disconnect, I suspect, between people like us and just regular moviegoers, people who love movies. Because I hosted a screening of this down here with the South Bay Film Society, which is a very engaged, very astute audience, a lot of retirees. They love art house films. They love indies. They love foreign films. And people were weeping. And people were going up to the guy who runs the society and saying, like, that was a perfect movie. And June Squibb needs Oscar consideration. We had Holocaust survivors in our theater that day, and I led a whole discussion, and it was very enlightening. And one of the arguments that someone said was, it does not matter that she lied about this. What matters is that the story lives on.
Right,
which
and that's
a lovely thought.
Yeah, and the movie comes out and says that, they're not. This isn't implicit; it is explicit. She pretty much says it that, like, yes, I was just keeping Bessie's story alive, which is true and a valid point. But again, like, to get us to that point in a real world of people making mistakes and interacting with other people, you have to do a little more writerly lifting to get us to that place. But as it is, just like chunk idea and concept and theme and moral, and it just doesn't play for me.
Well, it's all of that, but also Scarlett Johansson for her debut film is not there yet in terms of juggling those tones, in terms of making that transition. I think it'd be tough for a veteran filmmaker to make that transition from like wacky misunderstanding, mistaken identity hijinks to like serious, like heart-tugging, important historical matters. It's a jarring shift, and maybe in time Scarlett Johansson will get there, but she's better with the lighter material than the heavy stuff.
You can do a squirmy comedy that's also about the Holocaust, but maybe not for your first movie, it's I hope that we get another at bat from her, and that maybe she's able to play to her strengths better. But I really don't think that this script writes a lot of checks that it cannot cash. That's kind of what it comes down to. And if it's working for some audiences, great. Yeah. We had the same thing we said about Big Bold Beautiful Journey. Like, we hated it, but it's the kind of movie where if it hits for you, it's going to hit really hard.
Right.
So,
and Life of Chuck. Right?
Other good example. Yeah. So, as with every movie, this is super subjective and these are our opinions, but this is how we felt about Eleanor the Great.
All right. What is your probably not great number?
I'll give it a 5 just for the Squibb performance. Like that, that is enough that got me through to the end. Like, I wanted to keep watching just because I wanted to keep watching her and see what she was going to do and how she would respond and interact. But, otherwise, this is quite a disappointment.
Yeah, I'm going to say a 4.3. This is all out of 10 also, by the way. We've had people ask us, like, what is your scale and why do you do decimals? It just feels right. But it's out of 10. So Eleanor the Great is in theaters this weekend. Are we totally wrong? Are we cold and heartless? Let us know.